This is 12 on Health with Gillian Neff.
Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of 12 on Health. You're watching News 12 Connecticut, as local news gets. Have you ever witnessed someone do their job and when you see them do their job you say, wow, this is their calling? That's what comes to my mind every time I see our first guest today working with young people who have autism. Phoebe Tucker is the director of Montano Assistive Technology in Bridgeport. She gets children who are usually nonverbal to express themselves and make progress that is sometimes even surprising to their parents. Phoebe, thank you for being here. I want to show folks what I'm talking about because I was there. I saw you at work. This is amazing to me. And when you glance at you doing this, it almost seems like you're being hard on them. But then I see how they thrive with the structure and what's going on. What's going on?
And just to help them, to give them cues, to give them not only verbal cues, but sign language cues, to help them to express themselves more and more. And this is really the key, especially with those on the spectrum, is to have some feedback, to have some information so that it can help them to communicate.
It is amazing to see it happen because for the first 5 minutes, we observe the child with autism who's very quiet, doing their thing. And then it seems like there's magic going on. You know something a lot of us don't. What do you know?
You read the body language, you get to know the individuals. You know a sideward glance means that perhaps they're thinking about something else. And then just to get to, especially those on the spectrum, to initiate or to come up with their ideas out of their head. And the individuals with autism are very concrete. You have to bring it down to their level, concrete, sequential, so that they can tell you the step by step what's happening then. That brings them out, especially with vocabulary that they understand, very simple vocabulary.
And you're very open to incorporating technology as tools to help you do this. The iPad has been huge for you.
Oh, the iPad is like the palette for learning for our people on the spectrum and other disabilities because it's right there in front of them. They can touch, it's multisensory. They're touching, they're seeing, they're hearing all that's going on, and they can carry it with them everywhere they go. It's like for talking tools or for voice output devices, it's like golden for our people.
Are they visibly thrilled with the iPad?
They are. I mean, they are just so, because there's so many different apps that you can get for them, but you have to gear them specifically to their specific needs. And you have to do things like, for instance, with cases, so that they can't just go and flip around to different apps, but to keep them focused on educational, cognitive, communicative, which we really stress at our center, apps that will help them in so many ways.
When you say a child is nonverbal, what do you mean?
It means that they can't really express themselves. They may have an inability to actually talk. Okay, this is apraxia, where they can't talk because the information from the brain cannot go to the mouth, all right? Other ones are that they have articulation errors, they're just not clear. And then with a good percentage, and we're talking about 60%, are those that can't come up with ideas. So in other words, they have to have scripts in front of them in order for them to come up and truly communicate with you.
They don't actually initiate a conversation.
Very rarely. As I say, we kind of specialize with those individuals who have limited verbal ability or are essentially nonverbal, in that they won't walk up to you and tell you information that is on their mind.
Now, the iPad clearly is where things are right now, and it seems to be where things are headed for you. There are other devices like this one that you're using. Show us how this one works.
This is something that people know PECS, is picture exchange communication, where with PECS you take a icon off and then you put it on. And then by the act of taking it off and putting it on, it's a physical act, okay? And then what they do is they put it on.
To go on the
So in other words, they're physically picking up, so they're initiating, and then they're putting it on, and then they're hearing a voice. So this is like far superior than the most of the PECS programs where it's just a picture, where this has voice output to it, which brings us up to a different level with our people.
I notice even when we're speaking, you're signing.
Oh, it's terrible.
No, it's not terrible. It's wonderful. Why?
Because when you want a child to look at you, rather than stopping the conversation and saying, I want you to look at me, you just go like this, and it's an instant cue that they know, okay, I'm going to focus on your eyes. I want you to stop this, all right? Rather than breaking up the conversational dyad and just giving a simple sign language can cue them into higher functioning behaviors that they
I know we
had.
have a break, but one last question for you. Given that that's so effective for you, and I find myself trying to sign here,
yes.
Do you think parents of children on the autism spectrum should learn sign language?
I do, because it's used as a cueing system. It's not to replace speech in any way, but used to cue them so that you're not always giving them words, because with words they get overwhelmed.
Thank you so much, Phoebe Tucker.